consultant. He is the one, actually, he told him that you are going to see an angel. So there is no way a person who is guided by Allah, obviously Allah guide him, he is writing from a false book. Now the question is, where is the book of Waraqa, Muslims? What happened after Waraqa died? Obviously this was the Quran. Do you agree with me? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Because
brother.
there's a book, you know, there's a book written by Waraqa according to the Muslims. Read it in front of your eyes. And this was a translation, supposedly, or as Allah he wished him to do, from the Arabic gospel to from the Hebrew gospel or Aramaic to Arabic. And read with me carefully what the hadith says. The hadith says, as Allah wished him to write. Do you see it, Muslims? So this guy, obviously, he was doing the wish of Allah, and there is no way Allah is going to make him write from the corrupt gospel. And then when Muhammad he died, sorry, when Waraqa he died, Muhammad was upset. Why? Because it says here that the inspiration paused, which means Muhammad is still stopped receiving verses of the Quran from Allah. So he decided to commit suicide. And then you will see that the solution of the problem was very simple and easy. I believe Muhammad he found a solution, which is, well, Waraqa he wrote a book, let me grab his book, and that will be where I get my Quran from. So whatever Waraqa he wrote before he died, Muhammad he put it in the Quran later. And look here, read with me, Muslims. It says, and Waraqa died, and the divine inspiration was paused for a while, and the Prophet became so sad, as we heard, that he intended several times to throw himself from the top of the high mountains. Now, a person who tried to commit suicide, according to you, Al-Fadi, what do you think of that? I mean, is that somebody stable, you have a brain problem? What do you think?
Can you? I'm sorry, bro. You were cut off. Can you repeat just the last part?
I'm saying, based on the hadith we see in front of us, when Muhammad tried to commit suicide, if you study a little bit of science, you can read articles about it. Why a human being he commits suicide? What is the reason?
Well, I mean, certainly I can say there is depression involved here. Somebody who is doubting himself. There is demonic, basically, possession. There is mental issues. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that go into that.
Okay, you mentioned doubting himself. That's a good statement, because in the Quran we find that Muhammad he don't even believe he's a prophet, and there is a very big question mark about this verse, because if Muhammad is a prophet of God, how he don't believe he's a prophet of God, which is very, very weird. It says in Arabic, if you are in doubt about what we gave to thee, go and ask the Christians and the Jews, those who have the scriptures before you. فإن كنت في شك مما أنزلنا إليك فاسأل الذين يقرؤون الكتاب من قبلك. If you have a doubt about what we revealed to thee, go and ask the Christians and the Jews about what we revealed to you. So Muhammad, he himself, he don't believe he's a prophet. Why a prophet of God? He don't want to believe that he is a prophet of God. I mean, this is the most funny story ever. A prophet of God, he don't want to believe he's a prophet of God. The prophet of God been told by God to go and ask the Christians, because he have a doubt about him being a prophet of God.
Right.
Any Muslim have a comment from those who are in the chat? Any Muslim like to call us? Say something. Why a prophet of God is not sure he is a prophet of God? And by the way, when Muhammad he received this verse, Muhammad already he received more than 10 chapters in the Quran. It's too late. I mean, if this has happened in the first verse Muhammad received from the Quran, I understand. If this is the second verse, the second day, the second week, now Muhammad is a prophet already for years. Now You are in doubt about yourself if you are a prophet or not. How such a thing can happen? Now we have a guy on a call, but I'm not sure if I can make him join our conversation here. Let me see if it's possible to. He's a Muslim, by the way. His name is Nightmare from Morocco, and by the way, this guy, he is 50 years old, but always he thought that his God Allah is a spirit, which is very funny. I mean, how a person he do such a mistake? He believe in Islam, but he do not know if his God is a spirit or not. Let me see if I can invite him to join us. In okay, I will give you a ring, Nightmare. All right. Please don't shout and don't use a bad language. All right. And I will let you speak to a brother Al-Fadi. I will leave it between you and him. Let us see what he can do. What do you think, guys? Let us see. I'm going to send you an invitation. Please join us. All right. Are you there, Nightmare? Nightmare, are you there? Answer, please. I send you an invitation. All right. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do. I hope Al-Fadi hear you too. Do you hear Al-Fadi?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right, good. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just talking about, you said that the prophet didn't know that he was a prophet. That's what you said?
Well, it's not me who's saying that. The verse is saying that. Don't you see it?
Okay. All right, let me explain to you the verse.
All right.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. No, because I get tired anytime you talk and you say this guy didn't know that his God is not a spirit. How many times you repeat that?
I mean, is it true or okay? It doesn't matter. Is it true? Is it true or a lie?
Okay.
How a man is 50 years old do not know that? I mean,
well, okay. How a man like you? I don't know how you are. You are probably 30, 40. You are a native Arab speaker, and you call the word Tawheed a verb. Unification is a verb.
Yeah, word Tawheed means unification.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, very embarrassing. Okay, go.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing that you do not know even if your God is a spirit or not. And I showed it from the dictionary. I showed it from the dictionary, Nightmare. I showed it from the dictionary what Tawheed mean. They are trying to change the topic. We will go after you finish this one, answer this one, and we'll go to Tawheed.
It's not a verb. It's not a verb. It's a noun.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Go on. We will go back.
Okay. Okay. This verse, is if you are in doubt about what we revealed to you, ask those who read the scripture. Okay. The word is there. The word in question. I'm gonna put it in Arabic. In. You know what is in? Is in. In Arabic, there are two types of conditional words. One is called ida. Okay. One is called in. Ida looks like if in English, okay, which does not exist in the verse. We don't have ida. It says in. In is the word used in the verse, but it has hypothetical meaning. Okay? It says, Cordoba says that the insertion of the letter F to the conditional word in look like this. Fa-in does not mean that the action occurred or whether or not it occurs. The conditional word in, is used often on what is not realizable, even used with the not reasonably possible thing, as in the verse 43 and 81 says, in the most gracious had a son, I will be the first to worship. The credibility of the conditional sentence does not depend on its occurrence as it's displayed. Okay, it was known among Arabs from their speech to talk like that. For example, a man may say to his son, in you are my son, then be kind to me. And he does not doubt that his son is his son. Ibn Abbas, okay, this is the, the best. He's saying the meaning of the verse 1094. He said, then ask those who read the book before you. Book meaning the Torah and the Injil. Before you are the people of the book who believe in Muhammad. He said, ask them if you are in doubt that you have been mentioned in their script. Okay, that's so the word another one, Sa'id bin Jubayr was asked about the verse, 10:4. If you are in doubt, etc. He said, Prophet never doubted, nor he asked.
All right.
And also including Qatada.
You finished? You finished? You finished?
Let me finish. Just 1 minute. He told us that the message of Allah said, after he received the story, he said, I don't doubt and I will not ask.
All right. Okay.
This is
in the same book you are reading for me from. After I will give you a short answer, and I will give the mic to Brother Al Fadi to speak to you. In the same book you are reading from Al-Qurtubi, it says, والمعنى لو if you have any doubt about what we've been taught to you, then فسألت أهل الكتاب لأزالوا عنك الشك. So Allah is saying clearly, if you have a doubt about what we gave to you, we should go and ask the Christians, and they will take any doubt from your mind. This is Al-Qurtubi, the same book you are mentioning and you are reading for us from. And I will leave the rest to Brother Al-Fadi to speak to you. Go ahead, Al-Fadi.
Hi, Nightmare. Thank you for joining here. I just wanted to ask you, you alluded to Qurtubi, who's about 600 years, give or take, after the time of the Prophet. You also made reference to some statements that Ibn Kathir also alluded to, which is about 700 years later. How come you didn't look at the Tabari? Because the Tabari is being honest enough to say that God is telling Muhammad, if you are in doubt about the truth concerning what we have told you, what we revealed to you, that the people of Israel should find you in their books, then go and ask some of them, like Abdullah ibn Salam. So why would Al-Tabari, who is the closest out of these other sources to the time of Muhammad, about 300 years later, actually capture the essence of the verse just exactly like CP mentioned it also?
Okay. Well, you believe that Ibn Abbas is before Tabari? Okay.
I do believe Ibn Abbas before Tabari.
Yeah, well, then Ibn Abbas, he said that meaning the Torah, you can ask them whether you are mentioned if you are in doubt that you have been mentioned in their scripture.
I guess the question is this: why does he have to ask people and not trust in God?
Well, I just said the word in. You know what is the word in Arabic mean? It's hypothetical. You don't use it. Doesn't say ida.
What led to this? What led to this? If I'm going to tell somebody, if I'm going to tell my son, if you are doubting me, go and ask, what led to this conversation? Unless my son really was arguing with me, or I sense that he's really not buying 100% everything I told him.
No, because it doesn't say ida. Okay? If that's ida, it says in. In is suppose, assume. There's big difference.
Okay. So Nightmare. So Nightmare, you are saying that your Allah, he make an assumption which does not exist. So he is not God. He is saying, if you have such a thing, but Muhammad, you don't have it anyway. So Allah, he was wrong. He's assuming that Muhammad, he might have it, but Muhammad never have it. Okay, so but Allah, he now is talking about a man.
He's just making hypothetical. You know this verse?
Thank you for mentioning that. What was the purpose of saying in kana lirrahmani waladan, unless it was to argue against the Christians' claim? So there was a reason for it. So what's the reason here?
What do you mean? What was the reason for?
What's the reason for فَإِن كُنْتَ فِي شَكٍّ مِمَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ? Why did your God have to make this hypothetical assumption? What's the object lesson here? Who is he teaching?
No, I can answer that question, because that's what I know.
Is it complicated? I'm asking a simple question. Is it that complicated?
All what I know that in is different than ida. In does not indicate the materialization of the occurrence. It rather indicates the possibility and the probability of the occurrence.
Brother Nightmare, let me ask you this question. You, right now, apparently talking from a grammatical standpoint. Okay, great. I respect that. Tell me about the average Muslim now who's going to hear this. What do you think they're going to think?
The Muslim who doesn't know in Arabic, that's what you're trying to say?
Or doesn't know this grammatical condition that you just mentioned. The difference between ida and in.
No, of course, you have to ask the scholar for interpretation of the verse.
So their salvation depends on a scholar. So we go back to a human being. That's my point.
Not only this, read with me, please, on the screen. Nightmare and Brother Al-Fadi, read with me on the screen. It says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا. The same statement. They were in rape, they were in doubt or not? Is it hypothetical? In kuntum fi raib, you are saying this it's not happening. It's not the same as either, But Allah, He uses it only even for the kuffar. He says the same statement. If you have a doubt about what we sent to our slave, bring a verse like this. So there is a story. There is something happening there. Muhammad, he have a doubt about his belief.
No, what the prophet says after he listened this verse, he say, let me say, I don't doubt and I will not ask. That's what the prophet said.
So Allah was wrong. So Allah was wrong. Allah, He says to him, if you have a doubt, but Muhammad, he don't have a doubt.
Assumption.
What kind of assumption? Okay. Imagine if I say to you assumption, but I am God. You see, assumption can be accepted from a man because he do not know. I say to you, if you are hungry, go and eat in the kitchen because I am making an assumption. But maybe you are hungry.
You make assumption as something. It's like, for example, you can say, for example, if I were president, I will do. You're just making an assumption.
Yeah, I make an assumption because I am as a human make an assumption. God, He knew if Muhammad he have a doubt or not. So what the purpose? This is what Al-Fadi is asking you. Why he's asking him if you have a doubt? If you don't have a doubt, do Allah knows that Muhammad don't have a doubt? So what now? What we learn from this? I mean, what is the point of this if Muhammad he don't have a doubt?
I can't answer that question.
You cannot answer everything. You cannot answer. Look. Muslims always they cannot answer anything which look embarrassing. At the same time, Allah He knows everything, and Allah is making an assumption which is a false assumption, but yet He's God. Allah is making if you are in doubt in what we reveal to you,